Hello, guys. You're welcome to yet another episode of the For Healing Girls YouTube channel. And today I have the very beautiful Dr. Mimus. As me, I call her, but Dr. Maimoona, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Omolola.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you for deciding to come on the For Healing Girls YouTube channel.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And you're also beautiful, magnificently beautiful.
Thank you.
We're all beautiful, especially they say when you're beautiful inside, it comes out outside. It shows beauty.
Are you already feeling that this is going to be a really good episode? Because Doctor is such a vibe. For those of you Gen Z, they love to use the word vibe. Doctor is such a vibe.
Oh yes, I love that.
And Doctor is not just a vibe. Doctor is brains. She's brains. She has so much ideas on how to help young people in terms of mentorship, in terms of making sure that young people get their career path right. Am I right? Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
The one thing I'd say growing up, my dad always instilled the value of education. And as young as I think 10 years, 11 years, I didn't know it was mentorship, to mentor young ones, to look at what they would like to do when they grow up. Because I also didn't know. I was very confused as a child. But I always used to ask, like when I sit with brothers and sisters and cousins, what is it that you want to do? And why do you want to do it? And as I got into business and I opened up a company called Bridge the Gap Program, looking at young youth who are not sure what to do. In South Africa, we have a huge problem where youth are out of school and not sure what to do and cannot afford to go to university. And then I started to instill, give them skills and empower them with skills to be able to now transform themselves, understand themselves, look at self-mastery, looking at the mindfulness of them. And then also understanding that you don't have to really start and going to university. Try and get skills that will enhance your ability to transform yourself and go into other avenues. And then later on, as you mature, you can find yourself and say, okay, I'm settled, this is where I want to go.
I honestly love that introduction because you talked about South Africa and then you've been in Nigeria now for quite a while. And you can see that we have the same problem.
Absolutely. Here too, it's a global problem. It's a global phenomenon. Youth are really not finding themselves and we're assuming we know them. And things have changed so considerably globally. And you look, our paradigm has shifted.
True.
Right? And things were not like how they used to be with us. We set in, okay, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a
lawyer, accountant.
No.
Professionals.
Oh, come on. Those things are out the window. And we parents need to start listening to our children.
I totally agree with you.
And this intergenerational gap is so huge that we do not understand what our youth want. And understanding them is by sitting and listening to them.
We have to listen to them to know what the trend is for their own generation. And then so doing, we can help them.
And also they can help us because there are things that they know. We don't. We are so oblivious. The social media, tech world, I mean, gosh,
AI.
Every day it's fast growing and we are sitting there as the older generation, we're like, oh gosh, it's cumbersome. It's mind-boggling for some of us. And they can teach us. So it's a two-way street, and a lot of people don't understand that. So and I'm loving this, the topic of discussion today because when we speak about mentorship, people do not understand mentorship starts from the time you are a young child.
So here I was thinking the mentorship starts from when I decide to, like 18, when I'm like, okay, now I'm an adult.
Absolutely not. I mean, you look back when you started to walk. That was a mentoring. Your mom taught you how to walk, or you learned how to walk by seeing somebody else, and then they would guide you. When you learned how to eat on your own, you were taught, you were coached.
That's mentorship. That's profound for me. Because I've never really thought about it in the way you just said it. For me, I thought that as parents, we are teaching the next generation how to do things. I never thought about it as even mentorship starts in the home.
In the home.
Because most people think the mentorship is, oh, hello, Dr. Maimoona. I want you to be my mentor because I know you're a great businesswoman, so I also want to be a great businesswoman. I thought it was that. Even till now, I thought the mentorship had to be, I see a woman doing what I want to do, or a man who will get to that. And then I'm like, hey, please Can you mentor me because
Yeah.
I'm doing something similar
Yes,
to what you're
yes,
doing and I aspire to be like you?
yes. And there's very different aspects of mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
And mentorship in the home is to do with us as characters, our characteristics, and us our instilling our values, respect, resilience, obedience. These are values that we are instilled from the young age. And our parents, we watch our parents do certain things.
Yeah.
Your dad goes to work in the morning, he comes back, he goes out there, he brings back. He's your mentor. He's your first male mentor. He's your father. Because you watch him. You see what he does.
And then for those of us that came from two-income household where even the mom goes out.
And I say, a lot of people say, oh no, I don't have a mentor. I'm like, look back.
True.
Think back. I said, go back.
This is healing. This is what this channel is called, the For Healing Girls YouTube channel, yeah. And we are talking about things that can help women to come into themselves, not to totally forget where they are coming from, but to leave behind things that will not help them, the weight that will not help them to forge ahead. Absolutely. And that's why we talking about how important are mentors, number one, but mostly important is male mentors. Should women have male mentors? Should young professional women have male mentors? So I just wanted to tell me, what are your thoughts on that before we ease into it deeply?
So I always say to people, a mentor can be male, can be female, can be young, can be old. We do not have to restrict it, and do not conform to the biases of society. Because, as I mentioned earlier, your dad is your first mentor.
First male mentor for me, me or female.
That's a male. And then your uncle, your grandfather. These are mentors in society, in community, in your home. So why can we not go look for a professional mentor that's a male? What's the reason? Why are we holding back from that?
What's the bias?
And the biases, I feel, is that people already say, oh, you know what, it's cultural. Some of it is cultural. Oh, a man cannot come close to my daughter.
Yeah.
And the other one is like, oh no, he's going to hit on my daughter. This is going to affect, or they're going to take advantage of my child because it's a male. But the thing is, it's what you instill in your child.
The value that you already as a first mentor instill is what's going to propel that child's relationship with
a chosen mentor. And also, as a parent, as a dad, as an uncle, how comfortable do you make your daughter feel? Or, in the home as a girl, do you put those restrictions on them that they don't feel comfortable to even interact with you? And this is where we have the biases and we have the restrictions, because girls feel like, oh, I need to stay, especially when you come from a predominantly Christian family or Muslim family.
You
find that they keep away. They seem to shy away from men.
Shy away from men.
I mean, our imams, our pastors are mentors.
Sure. When they stand and they talk to us about the religious books and what him up there tells us to do, it's mentorship. That's profound.
So let us forget about putting a gender thing towards mentorship. Look at the value the person is going to instill in you, put in you, the knowledge the person is going to give you, the wisdom. And look at that and say how that's going to impact on my life and add value to my life. Me to continue.
I really love where this conversation. You see what I was saying the last time I spoke with Haji. I was saying this conversations just take a dive, and I allow them to flow, because I believe that that's where value is going to be gotten from and wisdom is going to be tapped from. So sometimes we'll have to do away, sometimes with the script, but definitely we'll still stick with them. So the next question is, are mentors chosen? And when I say chosen, do I have to reach out to someone to say I want you to be my mentor, or is the person looking out and saying, I'm saying that this person is doing a great job and so I want to mentor them, or is it both ways?
So it works both ways.
Okay.
However, unconscious or you say unconscious mentors we have, you're not aware sometimes that somebody is your mentor until they mention the word. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you're in a work situation and you have somebody who's maybe your senior or your colleague, and that person is teaching you some things about work life and professionalism, etc. How you need to transition yourself into the work environment. That's mentoring. already now you don't have to mention that it's a mentor, but
Yeah.
that person is mentoring you. So it's
Okay.
something that
Okay.
we have to be. We're unaware every
We
day
have to
that
be mindful.
Yes, but we're unaware. A lot of us are unaware that we have mentors. We are unaware that we're being mentored because we don't understand that what mentoring is.
Because people always talk about how, oh, I need a mentor, I need a mentor, I
Yes.
need a mentor to get to the next level of my
Yes,
career.
yes.
Not saying that already you have people who are playing that part already.
And are playing a pivotal role in your life who are mentors. And people always looking outside, they don't look inside. Because who knows you better
Then those inside.
And those who can tell you the next step, what to do, how to do. Because mentoring, yeah, it may be professional, but it's to do with you, your character, your personality, and who knows you better.
So it's not what I'm hearing you saying that is profound as it's not just about the professional. Now you're going to the nitty gritty of character development, of how your courage, how you carry yourself in the world. And it's profound for me because don't forget, I keep saying that this channel is for girls and for women who are trying to leave the weight of trauma behind and forge ahead with their life. So what I'm hearing you telling them is that your mentor is not just in your professional life. It's someone who's going to help you to carry yourself in the world and position yourself for success.
Absolutely.
Profound.
And you know,
Profound.
I'll give you an example myself. Growing up, my dad was a professional. I used to always admire him, and I always say, I want to be like my dad. And then he would travel all over and come back and tell us stories, and I'm like, this is what I want to do when I grow up. This is who I want to be. And only later in life I started to realize that my dad is my hero.
Wow.
My mentor. And my mom, she was the type of person that would sit there and make sure that we understood what are the values in the home. Make sure when you get married one day, this is how you should behave as a young woman in a home. And I looked at it and I said, and so people would ask, like, we have a conversation like this, and say, who is your mentor? And one day I sat there and I was the only one who said, my mom and my dad. And
you're an outlier.
And the lecturer says, fantastic.
Yes.
These are supposed to be your mentors.
Because, I've had ladies here send me messages and tell me how they're coming from abusive homes. They're coming from homes where some of them are estranged from their parents. They don't speak in terms with their parents and all. So hearing you talk about how your parents are your heroes and your mentors is healing.
Yes, absolutely. And it pains when you hear the stories about those who've been through those abuse and those traumatic experiences. But getting out of them is because they say it takes a community to build a person. And getting out of them is to find and identify people in the community who will be able to help you. And we are not alone. And this is the thing people need to realize, that we cannot do anything alone. And especially girls out there, just remember that you have a lot of support. But it's up to you whether you reach out for the support. And you want to actually acknowledge that there is support out there. Because it's not about you saying, oh, I'm alone, there's nobody. You have people.
So how do I, and I'm sure a lot of young people too are asking that question while you were talking, how do I know that how can I acknowledge that I have support? And then how can I reach out to that support? How can I tap into that support?
So when you look at somebody who's been, for instance, come from an abuse home and has run away or has gone to a place where they have safekeeping, you have to trust somebody. Who did you trust enough to tell your story to? Who did you now trust enough to open yourself to? And then that's the kind of person that you are able to now say, I'm holding this person close to me because this person now is going to be there for me. Once a trust is built, there's no going back. And that's how you identify this person. And you letting go is saying, I've already opened myself to this person by letting out what I've been through. That already is a vulnerable position. And you've said, I'm allowing it. So allowing it is saying that I'm not alone. Already you're not alone. So not being alone is knowing that you've allowed somebody, you've spoken to somebody, letting them to your deep, dark secrets, things that pained you, broke you, and allow this person to come in and try and help heal you.
And I will still ask again, for women, that person can be a man.
It can be a man.
can be, and again, this person can even be younger than you. From what you said earlier, I've never heard that,
Absolutely.
because I always thought, even personally, I
Yes.
always thought mentors should be people who are advanced in age than I am.
Mm-mm. Because you find there's a lot of youngsters today, and I say youth, who are so wise, who have so much of wisdom and so much of experiences. Not like before. I mean, before, it goes according to your
Yeah,
different
yeah,
generations.
yeah.
Now, because everyone is exposed to everything at the same time. I mean, social media has given us that opportunity to be exposed, to understand, to read, to navigate through stuff, educate ourselves. And you find that there are younger people who will be able to who can listen. There are people who got ability to listen to you. There are people who got ability to understand you. There are people who have ability to now guide you. So we all don't have that all at once. Some of us don't have it. Some of us, as old as we are, do not have that skill to listen.
Yes,
And some
it's
of
a
us,
skill.
it's a skill. Because you'll be talking to me, but I'm not hearing what you are saying. It's going above my head.
And I'm not retaining it for next time.
And I'm assuming this is what you are saying. I don't ask the relevant questions to get to the bottom of why you are saying that thing.
Oh, this is profound.
So I say mentoring is very, very deep. It empowers people.
So it's beyond, because I think we also live in a world where people are quick to, what can I get from this person? Yes, because I've seen especially women, because
Yes.
I am blessed to be surrounded with women
Yes.
like Dr. Vivuz and Hajia. I've seen people who, like you, who say, I can perceive that this person is just coming close to me for what they can gain.
Yes.
So how do you empower? I don't want to. How would I put this question now? How would you, as someone who is trying to come close to someone who you've identified that you can trust, how can you also be the kind of person that does not just take and take and take from your mentor? I think it's an important question, because most times we just take away from mentors. So how can I be the kind of woman who also gives back?
So, not everybody can give back. That's the truth. There are some people who are very selfish and who just want to take. But when you get somebody in your life who's a mentor, the mentor knows how to extract that element of you to be able for you to give back. They learn to what's the word? It's called to self-actualize. They teach you to self-actualize and ask you, what value are you adding to others? When you look at your day, every day, what you are doing, are you adding any value to anybody?
What's the
Mention
impact?
what one person, name one person that you're adding value to. And when you have to think about it, it means that you haven't got there yet. And then that's the time they start now teaching you how to, they give you exercises basically to start giving back.
Wow.
And just learning how to give back and add value. And once, I think it is very defined when we say that one has to find your purpose. Because when you find your purpose, you'll be able to give back naturally. It comes natural. But when you do not find your purpose, you don't know what you're all about, what you're doing, you always want to take because you're not sure where you're at.
All over the place.
All over the place.
And this is profound again. I love the word profound.
Yes, I know.
I love the word profound because it explains what I'm feeling while you're talking. Now, you said something behind the scenes while we were speaking with Haji as well. You said something about how sometimes what causes depression is that emptiness of not adding value or impact to your world.
Absolutely. And a lot of us, I mean, we all go through different stages in our lives, and the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And you see, I mean, at one stage, and I'm giving myself a huge example. When I was growing up, I was career focused, money, making money. And I reached the top where I said, oh, I'm making lots of money. But every time I got into a job, I felt empty. I was like, what am I doing here? What next? What next? And I kept on asking myself, what next? And then I started to self-actualize and look at, say, Maimoona, what is it that you want to do? Where do you see yourself when you are retired? Doing what? And that got me because I couldn't think. I was like, what am I doing? Because I cannot be working and my career drives me and I'll be earning money. And that frightened me. I got a wake-up call and I said, this is where I said, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? What has God put me on this earth to do? And that's when I said, I need to make an impact in people's lives and empower people. I have the power of motivation. God
You
has
do.
given me that, and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So let me start doing this every day. So when I'm sitting and doing nothing on my rocking chair one day, I can have a whole lot of people sitting around me.
And tell them stories that will inspire and
I just
motivate
inspire,
them.
empower them, motivate them. And that will make me feel fulfilled. And that's how we need to just look at how we find ourselves. And I must say though, I have spoken to 30-year-olds now, these days, who found their purpose already, who know what they want. And this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because it says exactly these children have reached a level of understanding about the values that they need to instill in themselves
To be able to give out. I think I'm one of those. I think I'm blessed to be one of those people who was able to identify where God is calling me to give back to the world. And I'll tell you that it's a very good feeling.
Absolutely.
There are times that I feel down and I don't feel empowered enough to go ahead with the next thing. Yes, there are, but
and it's such a beautiful feeling, And I want to go back to the whole aspect of the male mentoring thing, I see that, especially in the professional circles, women always shy away from having male mentors.
Yes.
Yet we have a lot of it's male dominated, the industry, right? And I ask myself, why would you shy away from that?
When they are the ones top
leading. and I always look at that and I think, this is very, it's so what you call it? What's the word? Okay, I'll get the word just now, but it's unusual. Like, you say, why would somebody, the way it's dominated, there's no focus on that. And when it's a dominated area and there's no focus on that, they say, no, actually, they go for
the
women. And you're like,
who are also not even at the top yet.
And that's it. So when we look at male mentors, let us first look at and understand, if you come from a home where you have a father or you have your uncle, your grandfather, take them as that and say, I want to look at this person as my dad or my grandfather or my uncle who's going to be there to nurture me, to guide me, to protect me.
Which leads me to the next question. How do we now set boundaries as a female who is in a male-dominated career or environment and has identified a man that I can trust in and I can reach out to or can even reach out to me and say, hey, I want to mentor you. How do we set boundaries in such relationships?
So the first thing is about open communication.
Okay.
We need to make sure that we understand who we are and what we are. And say and communication is so important. This is where we fail, because we do not speak and say, this is what my role is here, and this is what I'm expected to do, and what do you expect from me? This is what the mentor would supposed to ask. What are your expectations of me? And you as a person, do not be shy to say, these are my expectations of you. And if you feel that you're feeling a little vulnerable because you've been through stuff before, let them know. Open up and let them know that I've been through 1, 2, and 3 before. And this way I might be a bit, I might not trust you a bit. And open that relationship of trust.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And understanding.
Relationship of trust and understanding. Okay.
Yes. That is very, very, and you find that there are men there who are so empathetic.
Sure.
They understand. And especially if you find a man who has daughters. Oh my word. Men who have daughters are one of the best mentors you could have, because they understand women more than some women understand themselves, and they can tell you a lot. And and these are things. But you must, if you're going to look for a mentor, be deliberate. Go and find out about the person, understand and know the person, understand where they're coming from, who they have mentored before, if you want to go on that professional where you want to go, and then from there you'll be able to open yourself, because we can't trust everybody. This world is crazy.
True.
Right? And if you are not sure, just ask. This is where we have a problem, because people don't want to ask.
And I think you've been in Nigeria for a while. I don't know if it's the same thing where you're coming from, but you will see that the reason why some people don't want to ask is because people lord mentorship over their mentees.
Yes.
I think that there was a time in my life, in my career, when I just started. I had just finished NYSC and I was working in a radio station, and I had the privilege, and unfortunately, it was unfortunate, but also a privilege, both, to work under someone, and I discovered that the reason why her mentees could not really come out to talk was because she loves it. It was
Yes.
like, I am a god figure and you are my subordinate. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one of the reasons why
Yes.
young girls and even young boys
Yes.
or young men and young women might not be able to be confident enough to reach out
Reach
and say, these are
out.
my questions.
Absolutely. And you find those, and it's sad because you get those who are, you do get a few of those. And the only way you can, I remember I had a teacher who would, I was basically victimized in school. And I started to hate this teacher and hate that subject. And later on, I spoke to my dad and I said, I don't want to go to this. I want to drop maths. I can't do maths. My dad asked me why. And I was like, the teacher's always, every time I ask a question, the teacher victimizes me and saying, and then my dad says, you know what? You persist and you go to the teacher on your own when nobody's there. And you say to the teacher, please, I would like to know if there's anything that I'm doing wrong. Please guide me and show me if I'm doing anything wrong because I don't know better. You are my teacher, so you'll be able to help me and help me to grow. And I did that. And the teacher sat there stunned. He didn't say a word. It was a male. He didn't say a word. He says, okay, come back to me later. And that teacher started mentoring me. Because my dad, and I love that because my dad instilled so much in me about how to handle situations.
And that's so important because for someone like me, when I was navigating that, I think my dad was, now that you talk about it, I can see my dad was also my mentor because I always go back to him. But my dad is a handyman, he's an engineer, he's constantly on the field. And here I am in a trendy profession, and so when I tell him this is what I'm going through, he can't seem to relate. And sometimes he'll give me an advice that will probably work, but not really. So I do wish that I had someone to tell me to approach that person and say, oh, I actually do look up to you. And for me to grow in this area, I truly do need your assistance. And I think that would have changed.
And
I've learned from
that's why I
that
said
situation.
Communication again, and how you communicate and what do you say. And a lot of children unfortunately don't have that, I must say, in the homes where parents would be able to push you to say, this is how you do it and navigate through this like this. And it starts with us parenting, how we parent our children. Very important.
And in fact, if we tailor this down to parenting, we will not leave here today.
Absolutely.
Because as you were speaking, that's what came to my mind. Even as a mom, I was just thinking, and I'm like, we need to get it right at the
parenting level. And this is where a lot of parents, I think we overlook it. It's just our children, and we don't really care, but we don't realize that this impacts on them and impacts on their growth and their understanding and their maturity. And because the kids, no matter what you want to say, look up to parents. They look up to you.
Even parents who are abusive, their children still look up to them. Because I heard that children don't hate the person that is abusing them. They began to hate themselves.
And that's where the issue is. So, and you spoke about also looking at male mentors. And I always say, there are times where you have teachers, like I spoke of my teacher. You don't have to go in the professional environment. Also, go back to the teacher that you trusted at school. There are a lot of, even in university,
and they have wealth of
information, knowledge, experience, wisdom, and just giving you 1 or 2 pointers, because they may not be in the same career field as you in a profession.
I was coming to that.
Yes,
I'm so happy that you.
It's not about the career. It's not a profession. It's about the outlook of your life and where it's going to take you, because you as a person, your character, what builds you as a person in your profession? That's a question I always ask the person. What builds you? What makes you to grow? What makes you to reach and attain that goal?
So I'm hearing again, and I'm speaking to the young girls watching and the young women. Mentorship is not reaching out to people who are wealthy and you're thinking, that's my aim. Because I see that happening with young girls now. I have a Gen Z friend and she'll tell me, oh, this is my mentor. And I'm like, but you've never spoken to this person. So that's not your mentor. That's someone you admire from afar. But still, she's like, that person is her mentor because the person is already driving a G-Wagon and the person is just in her 30s and she wears really lovely wigs. And I'm like, that's not that's not what mentorship is
I mean, I hear
about.
people saying, "Oh, Beyonce is my mentor."
You've never met
You have never
Beyonce.
met Beyonce. You don't know what's going on in Beyonce's behind her closed
No,
doors.
you don't. You don't.
You don't want to know. The thing is, a mentor should be somebody that you look at them, you see what their character, you understand their character. You understand where they come from, the kind of person that they are, understand the people around, see the people around them, and know how they've impacted on those people. For you to be able to say, that's my mentor.
Next question. From what you said, you see how I've just left
Yes,
my phone
yes.
because you're just hitting the points on the head, doctor. Now, what does the circle of a male mentor, what can that show a lady or a young lady who is trying to be mentored by a man? What does his circle, what can she learn?
Okay.
So what should she look out for in his circle?
Yes.
That could either be a red flag
Okay.
to help her to decide if she wants to go ahead with the.
So for her, as a number one, as a mentee, you are already you having that bias because it's a male, right? And the red flags you look at is for the number one, somebody who comes out across as, firstly, does not understand, has no empathy and understanding of you. Somebody that cannot be sympathetic empathetic towards you, and understand you, and do not understand you as a person. And this is very critical because when you're sitting next to somebody and they're speaking to you, and you can see that this person actually has no understanding of what I am. Already now I'm seeing that there's a gender bias. The person is looking at me and saying, "Oh, you look beautiful today." Oh, and and touchy feeling. Then you know already. So the boundaries have not been set and laid down. And this is a red flag already. It's when a person always starts admiring you physically, that's already, and you can now say to the person, I'm not comfortable being touched by you. And he says, "You're looking beautiful or pretty." Thank you, sir. Use the word sir. So the person knows that there's a boundary. Oh, come sit close to me. No, I'm very comfortable where I am seated.
So should young women now go ahead with such relationship?
No.
When the person is touchy feely and you've set boundaries and it's still like touchy feely,
obviously not, because they are red. As a woman, the red flags already. Whether the person says anything or not, you just sense it. You can sense it. And it's up to you, because some girls love to be admired and they want to be flattered, but how far can that flattery go? Have you set that boundary? And if you're allowing it to go, then you're consciously allowing it to go that route when you can feel it, then you are the problem. Don't allow it. Put a stop to it immediately and walk out of that situation. You're allowed to walk away from the situation. And this is where we fail, because us, again, I'm going back to the parenting. Us as mothers, do not speak to our girls on where the boundaries are. We don't know how to tell them to set those boundaries. We do not empower them enough to understand when something is going wrong, how to now react towards the situation. It's tough because a lot of mothers don't know themselves. They don't understand it themselves.
So you see that at the end of the day, that's self-awareness as a mom is going to spiral down to your kids, especially your female.
Absolutely. And also, the dads. A man, because he knows what, especially a father, what goes on outside, he can empower his daughter. So, when you are sitting next to a man does this 1, 2, and 3. You need to speak and say this. This is what you have to, sorry, what's the word? You need to play against. Not allow this to happen to you. Because if you go too close, this is what will happen. If you do this, this is what will happen.
I wish a lot of us had that talk.
If you are wearing a top that is revealing, you're enticing the man. So if you are going to meet somebody, your mentor, it's in your dressing also. Yes, they say dressing should not actually, but you know what? A man is visual. They're visual beings. Whatever they see that's attractive, that's what they are. So we need to be very aware of this
You
and
need to carry
cognizant.
yourself with elegance.
Yes, and be very quick cognizant of these facts and nuances that we go through every day. We read about them, and we cannot say we don't know these days. The kids, the ladies of today, youth of today cannot say we don't know.
I think they know, but I think there's also the whole movement of saying, I will dress however I want to dress.
Yes.
And I think men should be the ones to restrain themselves. But I will dress however I want to dress. But what I'm hearing you saying is that it's important that you also carry yourself with that level of self awareness and elegance.
Elegance. And
Because that also speaks on your character.
you hit the nail on the head. And character is important. How do we portray ourselves? And you find that again when you go out into, for instance, you go into a seminar or conference, and you meet the likes of Dangote or Tony Philomelu and others, and they might look at you and speak to you and say, this is the kind of person I would like to mentor. But how would you be like to be reflected as how by somebody who, if you are not dressed appropriately, if you're not looking the part in a situation where there's professionals? Do not take things for granted, especially when you're going out in a professional environment. When you go out there, you don't know who's looking at you and who's seeking to mentor somebody. And mentoring is very, as I said, very vast.
Yeah.
Right? And somebody could actually say to you, I would like you to, what do you do? They'll find out, and they'll want to take you into the organization and mentor you there to do what you want to do. And grow you and empower you and give it, transmit skills to you that you never thought would ever happen. These things happen everywhere today, and a lot of you don't understand that. That's why we say we train the youth, and we say when you're going out there, go out on your best foot. Go out in bed looking your best, coming out in your best.
Be a good representation of yourself,
because you don't know who you're meeting.
So reputation matters.
Reputation matters. I mean, yeah, a lot of people say, it doesn't matter. I don't really care. But it does matter.
And you do care.
And
I've noticed that people do care.
They
You just like to say, I don't care what people say about me. That's not true.
Yes.
There's a level
There's
that you do care.
Because at the end of the day, you're not getting younger, you're getting older. That reputation will stick with you for the rest of your life. And when you're sitting one day when you're 50, where I am at now, can you look back and say,
doesn't look 50.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can you look back and say, I'm proud of where I'm coming from. I'm proud of what I've done before. And nobody can point a finger at me and say, she messed herself up. Are you ready for that? Is it
ready
what?
For that?
Are you saying I'm worth it?
I really hope that as we're speaking, you're drawing the juice out, because I am personally drawing the juice out. And finally, the final question I have that I know I got that question personally, and I want to ask you because I don't think I did a very good job of answering that. For girls who have had relationship with male mentors, and their trusts were broken, number one, what do you have to say about that? Then number two, can such relationships be repaired? Should such girls go ahead and still seek out male mentors, or if a man should reach out and say, I would like to mentor you, should they shy away from it, or should they go ahead with it?
So when trust is broken in such relationships, when somebody has overstepped the boundary, mistakes happen. We're all human. And we can ask ourselves, how far did it go? And what role did I play in allowing that to happen? Because sometimes, we can be very seductive as females. And there are girls who deliberately go out there to seduce men. Did you do that? We need to call it. We need to call it out.
Have this conversation.
Yes, we need to call it out. And if you say, no, I played my role, I was fine, I was professional, and the man still broke those boundaries, what did you do after that? You need to confront. Confrontation is the best.
Should we always confront, or we should ghost and say, this happened, so I'm going to run away from this man. I'm never going to talk about it.
Running away means that you're carrying this with you, the stigma with you. And then you're going to take it wherever you go to, and you're going to have this bias, and you're going to have this you're going to create this barrier. And you would, every time you meet a man, you'll always, this thing will trigger in your head one day, and you say, and you put this, and even goes as far as marriages.
True.
You'll take it into your marriage.
True.
So they always say, when you confront a situation, No matter how bad the situation is, you speak to the person and you say, "This is how I'm feeling. This is what you've done to me." Even if you write it down and put
As a
it
letter,
and
a
note,
mail.
a mail, and you send it to the person, you have now let go, because we need to let go.
And I also dare add that as someone who is working with girls who have been sexually abused and even young women who have been raped, I will say that when you confront, you're helping the next woman. Because if a
Yes.
man has overstepped his boundary and has
Yes.
done something that has hurt you so much and you ghost him, you're giving him the power to do it
Power.
to the next
And I
woman.
was just going to say, you are actually giving that person the power and allowing him now to say, "It's okay. It's what I'm doing is fine." And he gets away with it. You need to now end it there, because you ask yourself, how many other girls have he done it before? This is not his first time. You don't know, but you never know. But this is where you ended, and you now empowered enough. You empower yourself enough to empower others. No, and this is how it goes. You need to know that as women, we're very empowered, but we don't know that. We don't understand it. If you look at how powerful our mothers are in the home, if a mother looks at her husband and says, "No, you are not," he will listen. The power of a woman is something else. So don't take yourself for granted, and don't allow yourself to be victimized.
Don't be a victim.
Don't be a victim.
Don't
use that victim mentality. And this is what we do, because I come to Omolola, say, "Omolola, this happened to me." And Omolola say, "Sorry, my friend. No. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to stand up?"
I learned that late.
Yes.
I'm in my 30s now, and honestly, I learned that late.
Yes.
Because we tend to, as women, we tend to have this pity party
Party.
with each other. And it's just sorry. Nobody is saying that's not right.
Yes.
What are we going to do about that? We'll just say, "No, sorry." And then sometimes we'll go religious and be like, "Oh, we'll leave it to God." And I learned that late. That's not the way to go.
The other day I had a friend who called me and she says, she was having a pity party with me about the relationship and whatever. I said, "This is what you're going to do. Stop it. You do 1, 2, and 3, and stop this thing and playing a victim, because you are playing the victim." She just, "Maimoona, nobody has ever told me this. Thank you." She phoned me back and said, "Thank you. I didn't realize." I said, "Yeah, because," I said, "you just playing this victim mentality." I said, "You're not coming out and say, okay, what am I going to do better? And how am I going to handle this?" And this is what we should do in our situations when we are put into situations of being victims. We are made victims sometimes in situations that we are not in control of.
Yeah.
But how do you take control back?
How do you take control back?
You need to now say, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm not standing for this anymore. I'm empowered enough to now stand my ground of what my values are. What has been instilled in me? And show them who I am. I always speak in the mirror. The one thing people think I'm crazy. But
I do that too.
I love it. Speaking in the mirror is like, I look at the mirror and say, "Maimoona, you went through this today. What are you going to do about it? Stop crying." I do cry.
I do that thing of like, I'm a coach to myself. Yes. Like, what are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do about it? Put your big girl panties on and start moving, girl. And that's it.
Very important.
And I say to girls, you need to, and this is self-motivation.
Yeah.
Right? And you need to self-motivate before anybody can motivate you. I can motivate you how much I want, but if you are not self-motivated, ain't nothing going to happen, darling. So stop, and I also start going out there and seeking those male mentors, because you'll never go wrong. They're going to teach you things that us females may never be able to teach you.
True, and then sponsorship.
Yes, and maybe never be able to give you, because males out there are on another level, and they can teach you so much and add value to you and empower you at the same time. And look at your growth and be there and hold your hands, because sometimes as women we get so engrossed in our lives of things that we do with our kids and stuff like that, and we also have birds. We are more emotional beings. Men are more practical. Male are more practical beings. So go out there and seek a male mentor and show him off. And see how proud you become one day when.
And then you now become the kind of woman who is also getting up there and being able to mentor people.
And mentor. And we all are mentors, no matter what we want to say. You who's 12, you're a mentor to your brothers and sisters who are younger than you. Just remember that whatever you are doing, it transmits down to them.
Thank you so much,
try to be that powerful, empowered, and a valuable person to yourself, so that you can add value to others.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much. This has been a really profound session
I'm
that we've
glad.
had here.
Yes.
And I always say that my videos are a little bit like therapy, and
Yes.
you brought that vibe. You brought that vibe, and I'm really
Yes.
grateful. So there's something I actually do. I'm sorry I didn't tell you
Yes.
beforehand. And it's the I normally give like a journaling prompt. I believe in the power of journaling for
Okay.
women.
Yes.
So I just wanted to give a journaling prompt. It could be anything. It could be related to what we spoke about today.
Yes.
It could be anything just off the top of your head that you want them to journal about that will help them to come into self-awareness,
Yeah.
mindfulness, and empowerment as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I believe in the power of the mind.
Hmm.
And growing up, I always, and especially now in the older age, I always think about whenever I watch somebody, I think, what's going on in their mind? So the mind is a very powerful tool. Whatever you think about, whatever you imagine, whatever you feel is what you are going to transmit to others. So when you wake up every morning, power of motivating your mind to the most positive thing for the day. Say, today my message for everybody around me is going to be this: love. And when you show love, you will get love back if that's what you want. But never ever wake up and say, be negative, because whatever negativity you bring out will transmit onto others.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much. I hope that you, as I said, you juiced it out. You juiced it really. And I like to say that these videos are not the kind of videos that you just watch once and you're done. You can always come back to this video. You can always come back to it. In fact, I would dare say Doctor has a mentoring platform, and if you have questions, if you want to be part of it,
Yes.
as a young girl, as a young woman out there, as even a young man out there, please do reach out. Send an email to the email that's going to drop in the description below. And don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment, and share this video with everyone that you think will need it. So till I come your way in my next video, it's bye.
Bye. Thank you.